For weeks now, they have caused speculation, anxiety, and yes, even stress. Those exhaustive stress tests on America's best-known banks, some mired in losses and limping along on bailouts. Well, tonight we get the results, showing what shape the financial institutions are in and how they'd fare if the recession gets worse. The government says 10 of the 19 banks put to the test need to come up with a total of $74.6 billion in additional capital. But where will they get that money? Betsy Stark is here again tonight. Betsy.
Charlie, the poor financial health of big banks and fears about their financial health have been a serious drag on the economy. But with these stress test results today, the administration believes it has taken a decisive step toward restoring public confidence and putting these banks on more solid footing. The drip of news about which big banks are strong and which are weak finally ended today.
These actions today are going to bring an unprecedented level of transparency and clarity to the health of the nation's banking system.
The chairman of the Federal Reserve said the results should provide considerable comfort. 150 bank examiners scoured the books of the nation's 19 biggest banks to see what would happen if unemployment hits 10.3%, home prices drop another 22%, and the recession drags on into 2010. 9 have enough cash right now to ride out the downturn. Of the 10 that do not, Citi needs $5.5 billion more, Bank of America $33.9 billion, and Wells Fargo $13.7 billion. The total shortfall is $75 billion, a big number, but some worry not big enough, especially if unemployment expected to hit 8.9% tomorrow continues to move higher.
True stress test of the system is more like 11 to 12% unemployment rate. So I think you have to stress these balance sheets a lot harsher to really solve all the problems.
With the results now in, weak banks will have 6 months to come up with the cash regulators say they need. The government says they can either raise the money from private investors, sell off assets, give the government a larger direct stake in their banks, or ask the government for more cash.
Some of the banks are going to find it easy to raise the money over the next 6 months. Some will find it exceedingly difficult and will need new TARP money.
Regulators hope all this scrutiny and disclosure will mark a turning point in this economic crisis, giving Wall Street the confidence it needs to invest in banks and giving banks the cash cushion they need to make more loans to Main Street. Whether it turns out that way and how quickly will depend on how well the economy fares from here, Charlie.
So about half the banks will need more money as insurance against a worsening recession. About half the banks are fine the way they are. I gather some of those banks, fine the way they are saying, well, now they're ready to give back the bailout money, the TARP money that they got from the government.
Yeah, some of the strongest ones have been saying for a while they'd really like to do that, among them Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, saying they'd like to get out from under the government's thumb. And as we know, Charlie, it would give them, among other things, the latitude to pay their executives whatever they wish.